The release of the Pulsar Xlite V3 happened not long ago, and I had the opportunity to test both their standard medium size one and their esports version. And TLDR, I think both of these are fantastic Ergo mice, maybe even the best Ergo release of this year. So both of these are sporting the tried and true Zowie EC2C kind of shape, which is that more traditional Ergo shape that curves very naturally without any aggressive humps like you find on the Lamzo Thorn and the Outset AX, for example. These just feel very natural to grip, and you can't find a better palm grip shape anywhere if you like that grip style. So size wise, I'd say this is more in that medium large side of things, and I can grip it very naturally with my 17.5 x 10.5 centimeter hands. You can also see that the buttons have a very noticeable concave thing going on, and these just feel so good on my fingers. Shape wise, the Xlite V3 is a fantastic ergonomic mouse. The non-esports model weighs 56 grams, and for a mouse this big, this thing feels very lightweight. The weight balancing feels also very spot on with the standard model. The esports model weighs 65 grams, which is not heavy by any means, but you surely notice the weight difference of these two models. The weight balancing is also a bit back heavy on the esports model. The larger weight is because of three different things. The esports model has a screen on the bottom is solid, and it has a larger battery. One wonderful thing these both have going on is the coating. It's a bit different on both, but overall both offer a very grippy experience. The standard model feels a bit more rubberized and is more like a fingerprint magnet, whereas the esports model has a slight shine to it. It's a bit more glossy. But yeah, the in-hand feeling of both is very good, and it's a really nice combination of grippy coating and fantastic shape. These both use the same optical switches from Russia, the Pulsar Blue encoder, and some nice side buttons. The optical switches feel nicely light, and the pre-travel is very minimal. One big improvement they made to the main buttons is that these are separated from the shell, so these should stay very tactile for quite a bit of time. You see on the Xlite V2, the buttons were a continuation of the shell, and usually after some time the plastic starts to warp and the click experience is not the same as on day one, which is not the best design choice in my opinion. The side play on the buttons is found more on the esports model than on the standard model, but on the esports version it's not bad by any means. Just some slight wobble that doesn't bother me in use. The scroll wheel you see on the esports model is made of aluminium and it's really smooth. I like it very much, even though it is not as grippy as the rubberized wheel on the standard model. I could go a whole day just rolling this metallic wheel. Then let's talk about tech. The biggest difference of these two is that the esports model doesn't require any drivers and everything happens on the mouse itself, just like on Vaxi's and Zowie's wireless mice. The screen is a bit of a gimmick, but I've learned to appreciate it during these past 2 weeks. It's surprisingly convenient to swap the polling rate to 500 Hz after gaming to preserve the battery life and to check the battery life from the mouse itself. Could I live without these features? Yes, but they are nice. The wireless performance on these is also very good, being basically identical on motion delay between these two. Both of these do 4K polling, and with that I measured around minus 0.3 milliseconds of motion delay compared to my wired control unit. The esports version also does 8K polling wired, and with that I can get around minus 0.6 milliseconds of motion delay, which is very good. Stability wise, the standard version is actually better, and with that I can get a very nice looking mouse test to graph every single time. With the esports version I get some periodic outliers every time I test it, which seem to be because of missed polls in very fast movements. I reported this to Pulsar, so we will see if they can and want to fix it. This is however something I can't observe in games, but I would prefer the esports model to have a very good stability as well. Click latency wise, I was able to measure it from the esports version with my Xlite, and it was really good. At 4K, 2K and 1K polling I could measure a click latency of around 0.7 milliseconds, which is on a similar level than on the G-Wolf's 4K implementation. The wired 8K click latency was then very impressive at around 0.3 milliseconds, which is still higher than the Razer Death Adder V3 wired at 8K, but still very good. Why I was able to measure the click latency from the esports version and not from the standard version is because the esports version seems to be made by a different factory called Heat Moving, which based on the images on their website makes also SteelSeries and HyperX products. Their implementation seems to use the standard USB polling method that the Xlite is able to read correctly with the current firmware. I am still waiting on Final Mouse to finalize their new firmware to be able to measure the click latencies from other mice as well. But should you pick one, and which one should you pick? For me, I tend to gravitate towards the standard version more because I just love how it feels in my hand with the very nice weight balancing, the coating and the lower weight. If you are someone who doesn't care about the weight that much and hates bloatware on the computer, the esports version is a fantastic choice. The standard version costs around $100 and doesn't come with the 4K polling dongle, which will cost you additional $20 if you want that and don't have that already. And the esports version costs $130 and it comes with the 4K dongle. So the price difference is not that drastic and it comes down to what you prefer more, weight or the driverless experience and flat screens everywhere. But that's it for this video. Thanks for watching and goodbye.